We thank everybody for attending not only the budget session, but also for the press conference. This is an initiative of the Ministry of Finance that after the presentation of the budget, the conference is held to clear any doubts that anybody may have to ask, so the responses can be made available to you. We must congratulate and thank the entire ministry for the excellent work done, and more importantly, to the Honorable Minister of Finance. Honorable Minister, on behalf of Cabinet, I thank you for an excellent deliberation. And for the session to begin in earnest, we declare that it is formally open and we may begin your questions. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is
sorry. For a better view of the journalists who want to ask questions, what the position where this will send it
so that you can be seen.
Yes, good. Please. And your name will be your name and your
question. Quite a bit of questions that I'll be allowed to ask. My name is 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think this used to happen, but not like this. Minister will give us an opportunity just outside here. But we really appreciate it. And we hope we'll be able to ask all our questions. My question is regarding the budget deficit. Is it still at 3.9, just about 4 billion? Are we still at that budget deficit? Have we made cuts? And most importantly, what will the government do for that budget deficit? Are we going to be taking on more loans?
Thank you very much. First of all, we want the budget is a national exercise. Before I answer the question, and the role of budget is not just supposed to focus on resource allocation. Budget is a planning tool, it's a communication tool, it's a monitoring and evaluation tool. Unfortunately, the discussion has centered all around on resource allocation. But in the national scheme and in the role of a budget, the resource allocation is as important as the other 3 or 4 components of the budget. So it is within that context that we believe transparency and public awareness of the budget is very central to the entire role of communication that the budget will function in. And on that note, we are very pleased that as a ministry and as a government, we hear a lot of discourse on this year's budget. And I thank my team and my honorable colleague minister, Information, Mr. 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, who has been able to afford this time to break this occasion at short notice. And this is a collective enterprise. There's no one person that can do it. You can see the full leadership of the ministry is here. We give the face of the ministry. And going forward, if any information is required or any journalists require anything on matters of the ministry, we would encourage you to come forward. We have our information officer, Mr. Diallo, and so that we put things in context. Misunderstandings can be clear. It's a public service. There is nothing proprietary to any information that we generate. We work for the people, and people should be holding us to account. So we encourage that dialogue, and going forward, this will be the spirit. But coming to your question on the budget deficit, the budget deficit represents a reduction of 14%, and it's 3.9. When we brought the budget to the National Assembly, the envelope was locked. There was no change in the overall envelope. And the deficit is, and this is 14% less than last year. So the issue of budget deficit being a challenge. In crisis that we are in, there is no country that I know of that is running a surplus or a deficit. And as we know, government action should be counter-cyclical. In times like this, you should, as government, spend to come out of crisis, and in good times you tax and save for a rainy day. That is the role of counter-cyclical role of government expenditure. And this is exactly what this budget do, but it's at a reduced rate compared to. And one very important thing is not just the overall deficit, but is the direction. Is the deficit growing or shrinking? And the 2023 budget marks a reduction. And more importantly, the budget deficit is 3.9 billion compared to 4.5 billion last year, which is a reduction of 15%. But of this, the domestic component, because the deficit is not that much of an economic challenge. What is of an economic challenge is how you finance that deficit. The financing of the deficit is as important as the deficit itself. So you will see, if you have access to the budget document, which is available and will soon be published, the local domestic resource mobilization to finance the deficit has reduced by 52%. And the deficit financing is focused more on the external financing. So the purpose of that is to ensure that we do not crowd out the private sector in the market and make resources available for them. And also, most of the international financing are normally on long-term concessional basis, which are cheaper. So indeed, to answer your question, yes, there is a deficit. It's at the same level as the budget we presented, but it's on a downward trend.
And just before I allow my other colleagues to come in.
Yes, could we give the opportunity to another guy? In case your numbers are more, yes, we may have a second round. Let us give everybody the opportunity to ask at least one.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is 𝒕𝒊𝒏𝒈, freelance journalist for 𝒂𝒖𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒕𝒂. The Minister, you made mention during your budget speech that fuel subsidies are not sustainable. The oil marketing companies have complained that the government pays about $17 per liter sold, and your ministry claims to pay subsidies. Can you please confirm if it is true that the government gets $17 per liter? And if so, how much has been raised from these payments?
I think, coming to that point, the comments of the OMCs was at a specific month. Because you know the fuel pricing is done monthly. And in the fuel pricing, you compute all the taxes and duties, what you call a calculated price. And that calculated price has element of the excise and other duties, not the price differential. So when the OMC said government is making $17, it could be, I don't remember which month that they are talking about, because it's not uniform. Every month a new price is issued, and every month the variables are different. But in any month, there are elements that are the VAT, the excise, and other elements of taxes. That is different from when we say subsidy. Subsidy, the subsidy is the difference between the calculated price and the pump price. We call it a subsidy simply because the calculated price was more than the pump price. That's how it works. But I think you can share the computation format to show where the subsidy comes in. The subsidy comes in between the calculated price and the pump price. So for those prices that we are seeing, the calculated price should be normally lower than the pump price. But we will always, there is always a subsidy when the calculated price is more than the complex. You get my point? So that is the explanation. But indeed, as a government, I don't think we will ever put out a public statement that we are subsidizing everything. And numbers are there to support us. I think the agreement of the OMCs was to look at the element of value-added tax, which are compulsory. In any services or goods, you have to pay value-added tax and other elements of duties.
So I will appreciate 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆.
Yeah, 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆 will walk you through the table just for your understanding of the price.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
Any other?
Yes, any other questions?
Well, good afternoon. My name is 𝒊𝒏𝒇𝒐𝒓𝒆. I work for the 𝒉𝒆𝒓𝒆 network. And my question is, during your speech, you made mention of a proposed increment in immigration fees for non-Gambian national and also non-ECOWAS member states, and in which you've seen a massive increment, and looking at the nature of these countries are facing. We want to know what are the causes of this increment and how will this affect people who may want to naturalize and come to Gambia for investment and all that activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you know, the tariff to the immigration that we propose was done in consultation with the Minister of Immigration, Interior. And they reviewed, I think they have last reviewed the tariff 30 years ago, and they did a benchmark study. These benchmark studies show that our tariffs have not only been historic, but are far below the regional benchmarks. So the proposed rates were the recommendation of the Ministry of Immigration Directorate, which is consistent with the regional benchmarks. And even as per their recommendation, of course, submitted to us, these rates are below the regional benchmarks. So I think these fees should not discourage anybody. If you look at the visa fees of some of the developed countries like the US and UK, they have gone up tremendously to recover costs. And if we are supposed to work in the country, we also should do similar things to make sure that we charge people for a fair fee for a fair service. On the issue of naturalization, I'm sure we have other people in the room here who have known people who have naturalized in the West. It's so expensive, but for us, it is very reasonable in terms of the regional benchmarks. But the Immigration Directorate have presented a study to us where all these numbers were indicated. And we are pleased that we are not increasing it for increasing's sake. But can you imagine 30 years ago what the rates were and are still standing at that? And this is not only unique to immigration. As a country, if we want to develop, we must focus on resource mobilization domestically. And these are the low-hanging fruits. Even if you look at the drug revolving fund, if you go to the hospital, people complain that there is no medicine. But what do you pay? $25? Even taxi fare is more than $25 to certain destination. So in order for us as a government to render service, we cannot charge market rates, but we must bring our level tariffs to level commensurate with service delivery. So this is the idea, and I think this is the first shot. We will look across the sector, and even things like the drug revolving fund of $25 to buy a ticket that will entitle you to a consultation, and possibly even a drug if available. If we want to develop as a country, everybody should take a fair share. And this is the first step, which was long overdue, based on the recommendations submitted to the Minister.
We still have 6 minutes more.
Any other? Yes, I do have some questions. I have some. I'll just ask them now.
Okay.
No others. In your speech, Honorable Minister, you did say that 2023 may feel like a recession. Is the country not already in a recession? Other countries like Ghana, they have already declared that they are feeling the pinch. whether are we already in a recession? Will it be feeling like, or will it be a recession? Secondly, some 27,000 civil servants have been overpaid. How much has been overpaid, and how will it impact the economy? We understand some of the banks were temporarily experiencing problems.
Okay, may I suggest you keep it at that, because we have limited time. Let him respond. Then if there is a time balance, we can still invite more questions.
Can I ask one last one? Just one last one. Will a commission for the SOEs, which you recommended today, not duplicate the role that parliamentarians play in performing oversight over SOEs? Will the cost not be a hindrance? 3 questions.
Okay. I think the first question, if I recall, was on the recession. I think I like that question very much, in the sense that Gambia is a small country. But it's very good that when we are reporting on economic matters, we use reference, and you happen to pick that out. As small as we are, our economic fundamentals remain strong. When I say we feel like a recession, I mean the global outlook. I'm not talking about Gambia in particular. And this is based on all economic publications. The IMF recently published economic outlook, the World Bank economic outlook, African Development, most of them point to this direction. But this does not mean it's an across the world blanket recession globally, because the world, as you know, goes in cycles. Certain countries will be in recession, others are. And for your information, recession is 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline. So in Gambia, the fact that we don't measure our GDP on a quarterly basis, it makes that we may be in a recession without feeling it, because the statistics might not be there. It is only in the West where GDP is reported quarterly, and that's when you can track the definition of the recession quickly enough. Because 2 consecutive quarters of a GDP group decline is recession. We've done very well as a country, because even if you look at our exchange rate, inflation rate within the region, we compare favorably. So yes, we said this based on research, based on sister publications and other institutions. We are not out of the woods yet. So when you are presenting a national document like a budget, you have to be realistic. It's very cautious and very risky to paint a rosy picture in environments like this. And as such, I deem it necessary, myself and my team, to call a spade a spade. The numbers are guiding our decisions. These are not decisions we are making ourselves. And the numbers cannot be saying this and we say this to our population. It's high time that the true economic fundamentals of the country, of the region, of the world is communicated to the population so that they know. And when the challenges are there, it's not a Gambian issue alone, it's a worldwide phenomenon. So yes, that's to your question. I think the second one was on the
current prices of 27,000.
Yes, that one we have, actually I did give an interview on this, and the central bank also issued a press release on this. This was not any systemic risk to the central bank. The central bank actually is upgrading their systems, and they have a new IT platform that will ACH, the automatic clearing system, that they are installing, and they happen to migrate the data at the end of this month using civil service salary as a live data. As such, the system, any new system development will have some hitches, and this was one of them. And the 27,000 accounts that were affected, the central bank set to work. I visited the central bank premises myself, and all accounts were frozen. So, however, I think a couple of lawmakers managed 4 or 5 to take it in advance. But the directive is that those will be transformed into an overdraft. It will be a liability that they owe the bank, because all the banks have returned the money to the central bank, no money is lost. So,
apart from those who took theirs.
So even if they take, the central bank will be paid by the bank. It's now between the bank and those few. I think it's 5, according to the government. They must have come from you.
That brings to the last one, the SOEs having a commission. We're having so many, when will we, how many commissions can we take in this country, sir?
Yes, in fact, I think that's a double-edged sword, because we are complaining of agencies, which are very clear in the state. Today, the SOE, the agencies are more than 60, and the total outlay of the national budget is more than 4 billion. So we have already started work on consolidating some of them, including the SDF, which we want to transform into a bank, so that they'll be off the back of government. So the SOE directorate is very unique. It's enshrined in the SOE bill. Why so? The total asset of SOE is about 33 billion. Imagine as an investor, even if we get 5% of that as dividend, but so far, it's only this year we have been able to manage to get 270 million in dividend. So we believe the best way to handle this SOE is to have a dedicated superstructure within the executive to make sure that performance contracts are signed, the SOE management are held to task, and all governance issues are addressed at the commission level. That's why, and there is no replication, because as you know, the National Assembly Select Committee is for the legislative body to make sure that they are okay, but the executive cannot surrender their obligation of direct action to the legislature.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. That has brought us to the end of the conference, and we thank all of you present, and hope that it is still going to create greater opportunities for the public to access information of government. On this note, Imam Mubarak.
Thank you. Journalists, there are some gadgets in the chamber, so before the chamber is up, could you kindly collect them? Any journalist who needs something in the chamber, please, in the parliamentary chamber, please collect it.